Strength coach.
Strength coach here. You know, one of the things I always say is that you've got to constantly feed your mind positive mental nourishment. I've been doing that a lot lately with my iPhone, downloading books on Audible. And last week I downloaded one. It's called the 10X Rule, and it's written by a guy named Grant Cardone. Grant was gracious enough to grant me an interview with him, and as my very first strength coach blog interview. Now you got to be a little bit patient with me on this first one. You know, we had some of the ghosts come out of the machine, and we had some tough times connecting. But you'll notice that in this interview, my head is cut off vertically most of the interview. But don't let that bother you. Pay attention to what Grant had to say. You will be inspired by Grant Cardone, and in the future, many, many other guests, people that inspire the strength coach. Here's Grant Cardone. I pretty much listened to the whole thing in about a day and a half. Grant Cardone is our guest. Grant, it's a great book.
Hey, thank you so much. Let me ask you, you like the audio better than reading the book?
It depends. I mean, sometimes with audio, I can just lay down and, you know, you put me to sleep for a couple nights, but that's not because it was boring. It's just, you know, I had it on there and it just kind of, I wanted it to soak into my brain. So, yeah, the audio is really good.
Yeah, I've been in this space for 30 years now, working with companies, entrepreneurs, and even major corporations like Morgan Stanley and Google. And I find some people like to read a book, some people like to listen to it, and some people like video. So what we do is I wrote this book, Greg, and then I wait about 6 months, because clearly if you've ever written anything, you know, you write something, you get it published, and then what happens is you're like, oh my gosh, I should have added this and this and this, and this chapter would have been perfect. And so what we do is we wait about 6 months, and now I went back and shot this audio version of this. Right. And it's almost double the material that's in the book. And it gives people another way to think with the material. So you're reading it at home and you're listening to it in your car when you're working out.
Right. Folks, Grant Cardone is an international sales expert. He's an author of, 4 or 5 books now? One of them is a New York Times bestseller. And you may have seen his face on the TV show Turnaround King, right?
Well, no, it's not on the air right now. We own it, but basically it's a show that I went to in 2010 and went to the networks and said, look, I want to do a show on turning around businesses. The problem with reality TV is a lot of them just want to make fun of people. And my position was, look, there's enough unemployment in this country. There's enough people that are befuddled by the situation. This is a brand new economy, and the last thing I want to do is make fun of people. I'm not interested in firing people. I'm not interested in making people look bad. I want to make them look good. I want to build people up.
Right.
And so Turnaround King was bought by a network. We did 2 shows. One was in a gym. One was in a car dealership. And we turned both those businesses around. We were there 5 days documenting it. But it was reality. It was not mocked up, made up. It wasn't Beverly Hills Housewives. Let's see how much drama we can create. And it's a show that we're working with other networks now. We bought the show back from the network, and we're looking at other outlets right now for that show.
That's great. You know, it's funny how you said reality show. You inspired me to write down my goals, and you told me to make my aspirations really, really high. And so one of them is to have a reality show, you know, about this guy who's a rolling soundbite in a wheelchair. And, you know, I've raised 3 kids and traveled all over the world and speak as a strength coach. So I thought, man, that would be a good one. So I might have to get some connections from it.
Well, I tell you what, that would be a great show. People would like that. People need the inspiration, and they need your example. You know, you're a great example for a guy that could have excuses for the next 70 years if you wanted.
I've tried them all. None of them work, Grant.
You know, it just doesn't make anything better, does it?
Right. Like, you know, you inspired me to write down some dreams. And I had some dreams written prior to reading the book. But they weren't lofty. They were just kind of, you know, I'd like to be comfortable. I'd like to earn a 6-figure income as a speaker, and then I'd like to maybe write another self-published book. Now, after reading your book, you know, no, I don't want to be a six-figure speaker. I want
Yeah,
to
dude.
be I want to be a speaker that, you know, my fee is quadrupled in a year, and I speak as much as I want to, and I don't speak all the time because my fees don't make me speak all the time. And I
Yeah,
have
yes.
a
Yeah,
book that's,
so that's a
yeah,
perfect example, okay?
yeah.
Look, here's the deal. There's a chapter in the 10X rule on goal setting. And there's a concept in here that, and look, I'm just talking from personal experience, okay?
Mm-hmm.
There's a concept in here that of the thousands of people that I've worked with, okay, or probably hundreds of thousands of people by now, and thousands of companies. Look, when I ask a team what their goal is, or an individual what their goals are, the first time I ask that question, I never get their goals. I get their parents' goals, their brothers' goals, the goals of their teachers. I get the goals of the middle class. And you hear me talk about the middle class a lot in this book. And when I talk about the middle class, I'm not talking about an income level or how much money you have. I'm talking about the way you think. See, the middle class, first of all, it's failing. The middle class doesn't work. You know, if you ask a middle class guy, hey man, you know, how do you want your life to be? Oh, dude, I just want to be comfortable. I'm like, that's the dumbest answer I ever heard in my life, bro.
Yeah.
You know, what does that mean? You want to be comfortable? You want to be in bed all day? What does that mean? You want it to be 72 degrees all the time? What the hell does that mean?
Right.
Okay. Oh no, I just want a comfortable life. I want to be happy. Hey man, look, if you live the last 20 years of your life without money, you will not be happy. If you haven't paid attention, the middle class is dying in this country. The very class, the very class of people that people from all over the world come here and they're like, oh my God, man, I got a shot, I got an opportunity. It's actually dying in this country. It's getting smaller. That's the truth of the situation. So if I sit down with a guy and I say, hey, dude, what kind of money you want to make? 100 grand. I say, good. What we're going to do is we're going to 10X that goal.
Right.
Now, I want to make $1 million. Okay? Well, the guy's going to be like, oh my God, that's impossible. 100's impossible.
I got you.
Look, they're both impossible. If we're going to fail at either one of these goals, 100 or 1 million, which one you want to fail at?
1 million.
Exactly, because if I come up short, I'm still better than 100.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Now, the other thing is this. This is what most people don't know. Look, it's as hard to make 100 as it is to make 1 million. I'm telling you from personal experience, there is no more effort to make $1 million a year as there is to make 100 grand a year.
Right.
There's no
same
more
amount
effort.
of work.
There's no more effort, no more work, no more thinking, no more brightness, no more intelligence to make 10 million a year than it is to make 1 million. So Ted Turner's dad, you know, Ted Turner, the founder of CNN, his dad said, look, set goals so high that you can never achieve them. And that's how I set my targets today. I want something way out there that really inspires my creativity, that really gets my juices going, that gets me really excited. And most people that I work with, they're setting goals that don't inspire them, don't get them excited.
Right. And then when you start going towards those goals, what happens is you get frustrated. You meet the resistance of the world. People saying no, all that stuff. And then if your goals are not high enough, then you tend to give up, right?
Dude, yeah, because there's not enough in it. It doesn't change your life enough. You want goals that change your life significantly.
Yeah.
You know, I want something that shifts everything to the point where, like, oh my gosh, this is completely different friends, completely different people, completely different set of problems.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I talk. One of your questions was, how are these people different? And you can tell I get really excited about this. You know, the 10X people, dude, they want problems. Little people don't want problems. They actually pull away from problems. People that get super rich, they look for problems because they know problems are money because problems are opportunities. Most of us are basically educated. It's not your fault. We're educated to stay away from problems, avoid problems. Maybe your mom or dad even told you this. My mom told me this. Fly under the radar. You ever heard that saying?
Yes.
Don't get too much attention. Look, the 10X rule is based on attention. You have to get attention. For you to make the big, chop the big wood, make the big cake, to play at the big parties, you have to get above the radar. You got to get on everybody's attention. That's the first step to success. Get lots of attention.
I wish I'd read this book back in 2005, Grant. Some things happened to me. I was doing well as a speaker. I was out on the road, and then I got congestive heart failure. And the doctors, told me that I had about 5 years to live. Well, I've lived, 8 since then, and I'm doing well. But also, we had Hurricane Katrina come up around that time. And then the movie that was made about my life, a documentary film called On a Roll. It's a documentary that aired on PBS. It was made. It did well. It was the #1 film on PBS that year. And they were going to screen it at a media conference in Atlanta. But I didn't know they were going to screen it with 3 other films, really popular films. Everybody went to see those films. Nobody went to see my films. And after all that stuff had happened, Grant, I quit.
Yeah.
It was too much. I thought to myself, man, I put in all this blood, sweat, and tears over all these years to get the ship on the launch pad, and now it's knocked over. Do I want to go through all that again? And I said to myself, no. And so I just, I sat down and I stopped doing my radio show and didn't do anything for a while. But I'm back now. I just, what happened was I had a near-death experience recently, and I thought to myself, well, how much time did I waste? And what could I be doing? And it got me inspired. But, and that's the kind of stuff that led me to get to the point where I read your book. But I wish I'd read it back in '05. It wasn't written in yet, though, was it?
Yeah. Well, because it would have basically warned you. It would have told you up front this was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
See, everybody underestimates. First of all, everybody overestimates in the short term and they underestimate in the long term. For instance, the internet back in 2001, everybody overestimated in the short term.
Mm-hmm.
They overestimated. They got too excited in the short term and underestimated in the long term. Because the presence of the net and the influence on internet stocks over the long term has been way bigger than anybody thought.
Yeah.
But in the short term, it basically disappointed a lot of people to where they quit too.
Mm-hmm.
Same situation in business, man. Look, when you start a company, you have to understand whatever business plan you write, whatever grand plan you have, there are at least 10 things and probably 100 that are going to happen to you. They're going to try to squeeze you out of the system. And I don't know what it is or why that works, but it's like gravity. It's like, hey, the gravity, the thing is going to pull you down. There's going to be problems, situations. There's going to be all these crazy things that happen you're just not going to predict. And that happened to you in Atlanta.
Right. Grant Cardone is our guest. He's in the Cardone Zone. That's the radio show you do, right? Tell me about some of the activities that you're currently involved in. I know you're an author. You're also a speaker, sales trainer. Tell me about all the things you do.
Dude, I probably speak 150 times a year. Speak more often than I probably should be. We've got a radio show right now called the Cardone Zone. It's just picked up by Orlando, Florida, by News 96.5.
WBBO?
Yeah, WDBO, but they just changed their station name to News 96.5.
Yeah, they used to carry my show.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then it looks like I'm going to be picked up by WGN in Chicago.
All right.
I got a TV show that should bust loose this year. It's going to be a new show. Working on 2 books.
What's the TV show going to be about?
Well, I can't say right now. I got a little...
All right.
But it'll be hot. It's going to be fun. And then I'm working on 2 books right now. One on the middle class and one on how to grow your business.
You always have high goals and keep moving forward towards new things. I mean, you've made it, dude. You can just chill if you wanted to, and you could be happy right now. But you continually seek out new stuff. Why is that? And how would you share that with other people in terms of having that attitude?
Well, I think, look, man, I'm on the trip. I'm on the trip, and you think I've made it, but I know I haven't. You're measuring it based on some idea you have, but I'm measuring it based on the way I measure success. And the way I measure success is the difference between where I am right now and where I know my potential is. So that for me is called the gap. And the gap is where I'm at right now never ever satisfies me. That's not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in whatever that thing, that gift, whatever the difference is. It's like, what am I capable of? I have all these gifts. Everybody's got gifts. Most people just aren't using them. And most people give up on using them. And they've had all these losses. Man, look, just get over it. Life is not fair. Right? Guy told me that day, he's like, I got cancer. I'm like, wow, man, congratulations. He's like, what are you talking about? Bro, you must be up for the challenge.
Yeah.
You must be up for it, man. I mean, what am I going to do? Feel sorry for you? I don't want to feel sorry for you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Grant, I have, like I said earlier, I have a heart condition, I have muscular dystrophy, and I have very, very high goals and aspirations. A lot of times, though, my body doesn't want to do what my mind and spirit want to do, so I got to chill. But then, with new technology now, I can actually use my phone, lay down, send emails, make phone calls to clients while I'm laying down. There's no excuses, folks. I mean, if you want to, you want to do stuff and you want to move forward in life, regardless, you can do it. I mean, I'm using my phone. It's a weapon. It's amazing
exactly.
what I can get done with that thing.
Exactly. And you know what? Maybe there are excuses, but you've used them long enough to know they're not going to help you.
Right. Well, we're with Grant Cardone, the author of the 10X Rule and a bunch of other books and TV shows. And this is a face you're going to be seeing a lot more of in the next decade, I can predict right now, because he's a man on a mission. He's doing some things. He's very excited about what he's doing. And I hope to see you, following him, but also seeing a little guy in a wheelchair rolling right behind him on that path to success.
Dude, I'm going to have you on my show, buddy.
Let's do it, man. Absolutely. Yep. Grant, thanks very much, man. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. God bless you, man. Be great and 10X everything, all right?
10X it. That's right, man. Take care. Okay.